got dreams and you know they matter. Be your own boss, climb your own ladder. That moment's getting closer by the day. And you're in the same boat with a lot of your friends, launching ideas you all believe in. The tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Be My Own Boss podcast. I'm Steve. He's Mike. And we're here today and be here again today later. We'll explain that as we move on here today. But Mike, how are you?
I am good, Steve. How are you?
Like I told you, first thing I told you, I'm very excited to get past tomorrow.
Everybody I've talked to in the last week has said exactly the same thing. It's like, I can't wait for this election to be over.
Yeah, for real.
So I think we're all in the same boat.
Like you and I, we know where we stand with everything, but it's still just stressful. I don't know why. And this one especially, it's just stressful.
Wow, there's every minute there's a new spin on it.
Right.
On
yeah.
Twitter and YouTube and Insta and TikTok. And you get riveted to it. And then you look and you think, where'd the last hour goes? I've been looking at TikTok,
So, okay, before we jump into talking about this Massachusetts ballot 3 and kind of capping this off, since this is our last day to really get it out there, I did want to ask you, I've voted a lot of times, but has there ever been a year where where every celebrity endorsed somebody? I don't know. I remember some, but I feel like people are supposed to put importance on that. I laugh because I think how stupid of anybody to affiliate themselves with either side.
There are, you mean at the presidential level?
I always thought of it as unheard of because you want all of your fans. It doesn't matter where you stand. Zip it. You're a celebrity.
In the last 40 years, let's see, Carter was very out of favor in 1980, but he still took some states. In 72, McGovern took just 2 states, and all the rest of the other 50 went to 72 Nixon. More recently, Dukakis, I think in 88, did very, very poorly. I'm trying to think of.
But are these celebrity endorsed people?
I think at the time, celebrities tend to go with the same party.
Right, but I've just never seen them all be so vocal. Like, let me use an example. There is, I just did those shows, the production with Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah.
She averages over 9 million downloads or listens on Spotify every day. She's down to just under 7 now. Again, she's still pure fire on Spotify. Nobody can touch her.
Yeah.
But she did lose a couple million.
Daily.
Right.
That leaves a mark.
She's still, put it this way. She's still probably the top download play by 2,000-3,000. But it did no benefit to her and only hurt her to shun some of her people. That's why I was saying, I guess, I feel like if you're in the celebrity, you shouldn't have an opinion ever publicly.
I totally agree. And I think celebrities these days they're so much more politically powerful and financially powerful than their advisors and they're headstrong. And fine, they're proud in an appropriate way. They're proud of how much they have accomplished. And I think an advisor that comes along and says, I don't think saying something about candidate X or issue Y, I don't think that's going to help you at all.
Right.
If anything, an episode like Taylor's loss, like Bud Light a couple of months ago, when you step out of your entertainment and recreation and good times and you go for politics, you are taking a huge risk because those are contentious issues and you don't want to get on one side of the alligator or the other. Yeah. So you just have to, as a celebrity, you have to be very careful. And in many cases, they've been famous literally since they were children. So
right. Yeah, they've been. I mean, they only know this.
They think they're immortal in a sense, or they think their reputation is unsmirchable, mainly because nothing's happened to it yet.
But I mean, I guess that's my point. I mean, like, look, this election alone, I'm not even talking about sides. It is split this country 50-50 kind of thing. So you got to know that no matter what you think, like what overpowering amount of your listeners are,
right,
you'll have some of the other. If half of the population and half the population are split,
well, nobody comes filing in
out and be like, "Hey,"
exactly. Nobody comes filing into the auditorium to watch your act because of your stand on a political issue. Name the issue, they just don't. They come because you sing well, you play well, you do something, you dance beautifully. You can throw.
If anything, it lets them get away from thinking about politics.
That's why it's an escape.
It's like
entertainment is.
So maybe even that's part of the stress that people have been saying to you, I can't wait for this to be over with. And even with me, is seeing it not only, maybe that's part of it.
They can't get away from it.
Right now, even when I want to go, okay, I just want to relax. I'm going to put on the TV. And everybody on the TV is like, I have an opinion. I'm like, Jesus, I don't care what your opinion is. That's the biggest problem. The fact they've found this target demographic and know that it's working. And that people are like, well, Taylor Swift said I'm supposed to vote this way. Like, oh no, we lost Mike. Come back. Uh-oh. He'll be back, guys. What's up, Traveler? How are you? What's up, everybody in here? Got the, okay. So now we got two mics. Hold on, let me get rid of one.
They said try again. It just dropped me off without my touching a thing.
Yeah, it's probably the new StreamYard. Just what?
OBS, here we come. Didn't hear that from me.
No, or even like, what I was thinking? I was going to tell you, like, I've been using more and more because of my lives. I've been using more and more of the YouTube interface just to go live when I'm doing single in the car. You can do two people. You can't do any more, but you can do two people on a YouTube live. Whatever, dude. That's simple. There you go. And it's free.
Elon's getting into it on Twitter. He's X. Yeah. He's going to be. They're going to do live streaming, and you're going to get a lot of points and a lot of circulation for it. So small outfits like ours should be promoted, advantageously. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. So where were we on ballot 3? And regardless of where we are on Massachusetts ballot 3, like everybody before Mike even talks, like remember, let's be clear on it. Like, am I coaching you through this? Kind of. If you believe what we believe, yes. Vote no on 3. No. It is a no. Don't let the wording confuse you. I haven't even seen the specific wording. I mean, I know Mike has read it because he read all 7,000 words.
I'm prepared to go through 7,300 words with everybody.
I'm pretty sure Mike, I would actually think Mike might know more than the guy that wrote it.
I did find a drafting error. There are drafting errors in it, and not the stupid ones. They're the ones that some sort of senior person has got to go for. And it just surprised me, like, oh, that's mathematically wrong. They didn't understand something, and they didn't proofread it.
And if you guys are like wondering what, don't worry. The video is up on the Be My Own Boss channel right here, and it's an hour 10, I think.
If you have trouble falling asleep some night, 2:30, 3 o'clock, give it a listen.
Or just listen. You might find yourself going a little farther in because you're just in disbelief that he's in one topic.
One topic.
One proposal. This is all. The whole hour is just one proposal.
It's just one piece of proposed legislation, and you're supposed to read it, Mr. and Mrs. Voter.
So go, and if you want, go and put it on 2 times speed. You'll get it done real quick. You'll understand the whole damn thing.
We could have done that, Steve. Saved everybody. We can do this.
It's right here in the YouTube feature. They can put it at whatever they want. 1.5, 1.25. It's pretty cool. You can set it to what you want.
Does it raise the frequency of the voice, or do they just selectively like hash it?
No, it actually does a pretty good job just processing it forward. So, yeah, tomorrow's a big day. Hey, Bubba Sue. Hey, Bud Soda.
Hey guys,
We got Rick in California. We got Bud Soda. Bud Soda now lives in Pennsylvania. So get your Pennsylvania on, Bud Soda. You need to be voting, and you need to be making sure everybody's voting.
everybody.
Tomorrow's the big day. Absolutely.
I think anyway. Yes.
Anyway, so here we are. Of course, guys, get out and vote. Get out and vote. But Mike, where were we? And let's make sure that we, because again, Ron is extremely smart with this stuff. Go gig it. I've had him on the podcast before. I've known him for a long time on social media. It's very smart. But he actually had a post up for a while that said, vote yes on this, but he meant no. That was an accident. It wasn't like he meant it was a real accident though. It was that he thought it was vote yes, but it was vote no. So, and that was Mike and I were talking before we came out here that's a concern of ours too, is that other people will have that same problem.
We're going to have to leave it up to the voters, and then we've got a plan for what comes after, and it's pretty robust.
Yeah.
Anyway, you asked a question, and I wanted to follow up. It was, what were we talking about 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
And it was the union tactics to fool the voters and kind of discourage or fool the drivers. And we talked in a number of different directions. And I feel that even more emphatically now that I've been through an additional couple of rounds of analysis with the proposed law. We're going to have a couple of short streaming sessions and a couple of longer ones on the guts, the cynical boldness of this legislation and what it does. And you realize that they had a lot of people working on this. And it wasn't just the people typing, the letters and the clauses and everything. They thought about this as a strategic move. And it is something when you sit back and you think, why are these clauses in here and what are they doing? You realize that this whole thing is really an abandonment of the PRO Act and an adoption of this state-by-state tactic or strategy of implementing horrible regulations at the state level, so that ultimately, I think it's going to be that companies tell them they've got to have national, at which point they're going to pull out something that's an amalgam of all the horrible states and say, here, we compromised. And then it'll get even worse. But this one shows where.
Okay, so what? But what would that look like?
Oh, it'll have the worst.
I mean, like when you say like clump it with the other states, I mean, like, so other states are now going to be affected by this too, kind of thing. Because
yes, well, for example, one of the worst non-Massachusetts clauses is in Rhode Island. They make misclassifying an individual as an independent contractor a felony, and they do it avowedly because that allows the state of Rhode Island, that big central state of Rhode Island, to literally send their policemen into any state in the country and extract an individual that they will bring to Rhode Island and charge with misclassification as a felony. So monetary and jail time. I mean, who's going to do that? Some mom
is it Rhode Island or Delaware? Which isn't one of those like pretty well known for companies being formed out of there, even if their real intention isn't to operate out of it?
That's Delaware. They've been damaging that reputation, but that's definitely Delaware. Rhode Island doesn't have any commercial bragging rights at all anymore. Yeah, and now their biggest employer is CVS. And a big private employer, and CVS is on the ropes because everybody's buying their vitamins and all this other stuff online, Amazon, whatever.
The coolest thing about Rhode Island is being on the highway and holding your breath right as you enter and see if you can hold it through the whole state. Just kidding. Sorry, Rhode Island. We love you. I do.
This is sometimes just a humor show, and we both love it. Yeah, I actually haven't heard of that trick.
I don't think you'd make it. It's farther than I'm making it
people who survive that are probably going northbound into Massachusetts, and then they crash in our state, and it's a state statistics. So they get lightheaded from no oxygen. So
yeah. I do know my grandma used to make me do that from when we'd go by cemeteries.
So the where we've been with this law, where we are now, essentially, I'm assuming.
So you're calling it a law now too.
Well, it's
I mean, we were talking about it. I'm glad. That's what I want to hear, because I want to be able to refer to it correctly. It is a law, or even if it's not, it's going to, I don't know.
You can, it's a chapter, it's a proposed law, and it's the worst kind because not one citizen has had an input. Not one business has had an input. Not one attorney has had an input, except maybe the plaintiff's attorneys in Massachusetts who, feast on the haggard remains of violators who didn't know that it was illegal because they are headquartered in, Superior, Michigan or something. Mm-hmm. So, Superior, Minnesota. Anyway, where was I? We're talking about the different. By combining things like making it a felony, they say, well, it worked in Rhode Island, so we'll put that in the law. And then they come to this reclassification. What I call a carve-in. Mm-hmm. They carve in a group that it is manifestly not a group. It's just and they called them workers. These are just people who use an app. That's not employment. When you use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you're not an employee of,
Microsoft.
Give me a break. You're using their platform. Same thing with this.
In fact, you're paying for it.
You're actually conducting a business function, which is finding drivers. That's the marketing function. And then you're collecting promptly, and that's the financial function. And they completely leave that out. So you can expect Massachusetts' framework to appear in that proposed national improvement model. Mm-hmm. And you'll expect that one to be a monster too. That'll be, if this is 7,000 words, I would expect the whole thing to be in the neighborhood of 15 to 18. We'll guess it at what and who's going to read that?
Hopefully you backwards. That would be awesome. Dude.
Thank goodness I'm an independent contractor. I can't actually quit. Anyway, that's what I expect. They will. So this is part of that, and they know. For instance, SEIU. Those guys are smart. They got plenty of money, and they spend a lot of time on this. They spent $6 million just pushing this into the into the voting stream, not let alone all the prep work. So it's really they've invested a lot, and I figured, the math of this is they put $6 million in. There are 20,000 workers in SEIU workers in Massachusetts this year. So if they get $1,000 round number, they get 20 million in dues. So they give about a third of it to this ballot question, hoping they'll get maybe 30,000 drivers to be SEIU. They'll have to fight the Teamsters, and they'll have to fight probably the UAW or something like that too. But SEIU figures, those guys are on the ropes. We got the money, and we like to do the menial organizing. So we're better than they are. So the whole thing is a very bold and cynical move. Then they put unconstitutional clauses in it. Nothing like violating the antitrust law, or what was it? The taking of private property, because your fan club is typing. Taking private property, fan club too is typing. It outlaws self-employment. I mean, all these with 7 different crimes this law has committed, and freelancers are going to have to indict this to be law And we're going to have to do it knowledgeably because nobody else is going to step up and do it for us. They're all wonderful people, but they got other things on their mind, especially, well, no matter who wins, they're going to have other things on their mind.
So, Mike, quick question about the ballot. How many people in Massachusetts do you think will get to the page where the ballot is?
It's a one sheet. We've already voted, my bride and I.
Okay.
It's a one sheet piece of board, like cardstock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had six.
The front side has mostly candidates on it for a handful of offices. The ones that go, there's a
lots of court ones and things like
president
that,
and senator and both the legislature and both chambers of the legislature are up for re-election.
Okay.
Another Massachusetts specialty, Senate and House. So you can vote for those. And then there are some lower offices, for instance, county and maybe town.
Okay.
But usually towns in November, those elections.
But then where are these propositions? And
these propositions start on the front page and go around to the back page.
Okay. So you don't have a ton of them, obviously.
We have 5.
Okay.
This year. It varies.
So is it a back page one for one?
I believe it's the back page is where you vote.
Okay. And it's worded probably.
It's a quick summary. They have a pro and a con position.
Right. But I mean, like, do you feel like do you feel like the wording was fair?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, not that the bill should be. I'm just, is the wording at least being fair about
if you feel like a dirigible is actually described as a sort of an airplane type thing that you travel in, no, it's like it's a monster.
Yeah. Right. No, I know the answer is awful. I'm just wondering if it's being
you won't have a clue from what you read on the ballot as to what's really going on. That they disenfranchise almost all women. They disenfranchise every single mom. They disenfranchise.
But they don't. I mean, none of that. You have to have listened to Mike and I on these podcasts to know that that's not worded in this thing. I can almost guarantee it.
An unmentionable torture.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going on, and you vote. I mean, it's the same way. There are people. We've got psychedelics on the ballot. You can now, but they want to give out magic mushroom, or not give out, but
see our state allows it, but they allow it because they've seen help in dementia patients.
Well, that's a why.
So that's a medical thing. So
that's what they hope people will think. I mean, it's not being promoted by patients; it's being promoted by people who want to make money or have a luxurious high, whatever mushrooms do. I'm not
right. No. I get it. I mean, look at guys. If you want to see what the equivalent of keep going down all of these drug roads is, just look at Oregon. Oregon went to like all drugs legal. And it became a mess. Like you could choose, like if you got pulled over and had things on you. I read all kinds of articles. You could choose to, either pay like a fine, or you didn't have to. And the fine was like $50, or like go to rehab for free on the tax dollars. I mean, it was so wild to me. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I think they already are removing it. In fact, if I'm correct, and that's only like a year and a half after it passed. But anyway, back to this instead of magic mushrooms.
Anyway, so I mean,
the ballot 3, like as we saw with Ron, and again, Ron is smart as a whip. Talked to him many times. He puts out good content. He knows what he's talking about. But even he thought it was a yes. So, guys, if you get in there and you're in the wording, like Mike just said, just isn't matching up to what you've heard from us, just at least think no and read the question. See if it makes more sense or safer to go that route. Because I don't want to tell you how to vote, and Mike doesn't either. But we also want to see everybody end up on the right side of things. So,
but I will mention that on the last 4 issues, I voted no. So fine.
Okay. Yeah. So are you one of the people who believe that if you are confused by a ballot proposal, just to vote no on it?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a nonpartisan rule of thumb. because why are they
I
on?
used to hear that
why-
from my dad too, is why I asked. So like, I was like, because I also know they get tricky with the wording, but he used to say that all the time. Like, just if you're at all
No.
confused, it's a no.
Why? Right. Ask yourself, why are they going through this when they haven't worked it out with you, and it's, you don't really understand it, and they want you to vote on it. They want
Mhm.
your vote. They don't give a damn about how, pardon me, they don't give anything about how what the content is that you understand. They just want your vote. So vote no.
So then I have this, just a last question, which we all know is the impossible question, but how do you think this vote goes?
Okay. Officially, formally, I don't forecast elections.
No,
So
we're not even doing any other parts of it. I'm just curious.
right. I believe. I don't know what the number is, but I'm guessing it's at least a third of the voters who actually are in the voting booth, won't vote on the ballot questions. Most of the people who
Okay,
voted presidential elections by numerically are presidentially interested voters, and they often skip Senate, but they very seldom go down to, they don't really understand reps and senators and who they are. Most of them don't understand who their rep and senator are. They couldn't name them. They just skip it. They want to vote for A or B on the presidential
Mhm.
ballot, and then maybe a senator if they're partial to or against them. So this will be well attended, but I just think you're going to 2/3 are not going to vote. I'm going to say a third won't vote for the ballot questions at all, and then they may cherry pick.
Okay, but
So-
out of the 60% who do, I guess what I'm asking, because of course, who knows? Did a lot of money go into this, promoting television ads, billboards?
Some, but none opposing.
Well, that's what but I mean, like, was there a lot of pro it, or was there just kind of some
There was
scatter?
some. We don't watch local news, so I can't.
Right, but driving into town, or
Yeah, I
mean, billboards.
haven't seen a billboard driving into town, but then I
Okay,
try to take the shortest route possible. And
but you feel like, not watching things, like you feel like from Twitter, whatever else you might be in touch with, that they were putting money into this.
most of this kind of out of the way stuff with sort of fuzzy appeal of, well, let the vote. It's a sort of a freedom of politics to let them vote for a union. That's as deep as they go. Sure, I think it'll pass. I think it'll pass by. Well, the voting is the early poll I saw was about 55-45. And I wouldn't be surprised, given what's going on in Massachusetts, if we get a 60-40 in favor.
Yeah.
But remember,
The bad outcome.
not one of those 60% who voted for it read it. I just absolutely guarantee it.
I would at least say 90% don't understand it.
I don't think people read. The people don't read. They read
Right.
books. If they read anything, they read books on their,
Mike, I need to point out to you
Yeah.
how sad that is. My son just turned 18. I've told you this.
Yeah.
He got his ballot. He sat down at the table and I explained what each one was and let him pick how he wanted. But I
Yeah.
made him vote everything on 6 pages.
Wow. You're
Everything.
tough. Yeah. I don't get involved in my girls.
No, but this was his first
Yeah.
time. I mean, I wasn't telling him who to vote for. I was explaining what it was.
Right.
This is this.
Do your duty, right?
Yeah.
And you have an obligation to yourself to vote on issues that are going to affect you.
Well, I just said you need to vote on all of them.
Okay.
Always. I think you do.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. I'm a 100% voter.
we need that. So anyway, I'm just saying, for all the people you're like, I don't think they even get past the president. Like, geez, I just on his first one made him do every ballot question.
No, I've spent a lot of time doing voting analysis of like towns, counties, and districts, and I'm astounded at how many people come out of the woodwork for a presidential election, and you never hear from them again for 4 years. They don't go to town elections, they don't go to state elections, and they come out only for presidential.
Mhm.
But that's that. I can't ask them to I'm not managing their time. They didn't ask me. It's a free country. was until 50 years ago. So
or hopefully it stays one. So
boy, I've got my fingers crossed on that one, and I hope so too. Bubba Sue says, I believe if you vote, then you need to vote completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, but that I don't tell people that.
Well, I mean, here's my thing. Well, I'm not using names, but there is like some people who are voting this go round simply not even for somebody to vote against one specific person.
That's fine. That's their.
I know it is, but I mean, it's just so that's like listening to Carly B to get your political advice.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like, I say this. Oh, I better do that then because I like your song.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, like I love the rallies. I'm gonna vote.
And Mike, I hope we get back to a world where actually, even though it's never pretty, I don't even mind elections. It's good for the country.
I like elections.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't have to be like this, but this one, I just can't wait to see it passed. Oh my God.
Well, I would be very, very happy if the word can get out to all the people in Massachusetts who are in any way friendly to self-employment or, rideshare drivers or any gig work whatsoever having to do with the platforms. Go vote no. We can argue about it later, but once it's in there, the road is so much harder.
And even, you know what? Since Mike is saying like, no, if you're going to vote, just vote. I actually I can side with that too. I fully understand that. But even if you're just going in to vote for the president, vote no too. Like show on that proposal
on 3.
Like, yeah, on 3, because show the state that, yeah, I only know about this, but I also know about this. No,
they hear the message. Everybody who pays attention to voting results can read the message and know what's happening. Is that they weren't interested in this at all, and so there are different ways to read that, but that's where that leads.
So is it a fair comment to say that like voting that far down ballot pulls more weight too? Like it is worth not only doing it, even if it doesn't pass, but because the amount of votes on that proposal are way less than the presidential votes, if you even weighed in and there were more no's than they thought, does that carry more weight when they're approaching something the next time?
Yes. You learn how to interpret this stuff. It's very interesting. I mean, it's engrossing. That's what it is. You realize, I can choose my voters. I have to have the right combination of timing and issue and wording and content. I can do whatever I want for content. That's what this is basically an SEIU law. The other unions probably are okay, but I'm sure SEIU paid $6 million and then another 10% of like something like $6.6 million for this, maybe more. Maybe I have the old numbers, just to get it on the ballot, and then it cost a bunch to pay for people to draft it, and it took a long time to do this, and there are a lot of conditions attached. So this is the result of a lot of analysis by SEIU. So this is private law, as if we were to come in and say that, well, Steve Johnson's property on Denham Avenue is going to have no taxes at all, but nothing else will be affected. It's like, oh, hey, terrific. No taxes. So
that's all because of me, guys.
No, I mean, that it's a carve-in. It only affects the thing that the guy writing it. It's not. There are no principles in this law that I can find that are constitutional and legal. There's only theft, misdirection, misinformation, and very complex math. So
you guys, as we roll out of here today,
right.
Mike, do you have final last words?
Vote.
Yeah, absolutely vote. And don't forget no. If you're in Massachusetts, it's important. You don't even have to read it. Just trust us, dude.
Doesn't have to trust us. I read it to them. I'm on record.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I mean, like, look into it more. Really make sure that you understand that yes hurts you.
Next week we're going to have a whole different story on this, and we'll fill it in.
Yeah,
if
we'll be talking because it'll be the outcome and what to look forward to.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be coming back. Some of our people here who see this video are going to wind up being plaintiffs in a court case, and it'll go pretty far once it gets going.
Y'all looking forward to that?
And it won't cost them anything either.
We'll have a nice vacation out of it.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, you can find Mike on YouTube at this channel, but if you're seeing this on some other replay on somewhere, I'm hoping to get it so that maybe either to that account or to the Twitter account that is Be My Own Boss Podcast. That well, I guess it would have to be through that one because Mike is actually checkmarked. He could be streaming to Twitter, and then don't forget about his website, New Jobs America, too. And by the way, a lot of you guys, if you haven't been to New Jobs America, I was there yesterday, and there's articles about all that we've been talking about, but there's a lot of your pictures are up there too. You might want to go over there and check. They all scroll. I mean, they're nice. They just all scroll across. You guys, all of you that put videos together, which now we're in the election minute, but afterwards we're going to pound you for those again because they're still going to be. Maybe it'll help after the hopefully it doesn't take this, but maybe it'll help to know. Well, see, we did some damage was done. We need more of these. But hopefully not. Hopefully things turn out okay. But guys, we are going to wrap this up for the day. But in 19 minutes, we are recording the Rideshare Rodeo podcast live. My guest happens to be Mike Ruby. So
delighted.
Yeah, we will see you in 19 minutes if you're still around. And thank you for joining. And thank you for watching on the replay.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, you got dreams and you know they matter. Be your own boss, climb your own ladder. That moment's getting closer by the day. And you're in the same boat with a lot of your friends.